Hello, and welcome back to the Academic Writing Amplified podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Mazak, and I have a guest on the podcast today named Augusta Williams. She's an assistant professor, and you're going to love to hear her story. I really like to feature clients who have come through my Navigate program on the podcast. I mean, they have such amazing stories to tell and really represent the diversity of paths through academia. So I'm so excited that you get to hear my interview with Augusta today. So a few notes about her experience. She came into the Navigate program because she was coming out of a federal government job, and she needed to kind of get back into writing and publishing. And in her field, she does a lot of writing with students. And she found that the Navigate program really helped her to have a more effective writing with her students practice. So you're going to hear all about that in this interview. Stick around to the end. If you don't know about Navigate, we are enrolling now. And at the end of the interview, I'm going to give you all the details, but you can find the link to apply in the show notes. Hello, welcome, Augusta. Will you please introduce yourself to the podcast? Tell us your name, if you feel comfortable, kind of like where you are in your career and your field of study.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Kathy. My name is Augusta Williams, and I am an assistant professor of public health and preventive medicine, and also an assistant director of our public health program at SUNY Upstate Medical University.
Wow.
And I am just starting my 5th year as an assistant professor on the tenure track.
So you should be going up soon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, and my work all relates to specifically environmental health and climate change in health, and how do we teach and build health professionals who are ready to meet and tackle environmental challenges and the health impacts of climate change.
Great. Wonderful. Okay. So what made you kind of get interested in Navigate? And actually, I really would love to hear, like, what made you take the leap and join?
Yeah, so I had been a um, longtime listener, first time caller
Yeah.
yeah, for several years, and I found the podcast really helpful because I transitioned into this faculty role after working in the federal government in a non-research role for several years. And so while in grad school, I had done research and had built, I think, a decent publication pipeline as a graduate student. And then as a postdoc, I transitioned back into academia and had to really start over from scratch. So listening to the podcast was really helpful, but still felt I needed to really spend some time, like, dedicated to building and unclogging this pipeline. So decided to take the leap and join the Navigate program last summer.
Yeah.
Was that summer 2025? Um, to really, again, spend that time to focus in on, like, fixing some of these problems I was having and, like, build up that momentum to be able to more efficiently kind of work on my scholarly work, especially getting closer and closer to that tenure clock.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you think about the program, what are the things like you remember as impactful, or those things that you're like, oh, I really this really changed the way I work?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that I come back to is in shaping this pipeline. Something you said that really resonated was that I have the power and agency to control what that looks like, what's in that pipeline, and also, really importantly, for faculty with many competing interests, what stays out of that pipeline.
Yes.
And that's been really helpful to kind of check in on my priorities and, like, what projects I'm working on, what papers I'm working on, where things are at in the pipeline related to that. So it's kind of a nice overarching piece that I come back to a lot. But then when I'm actually working on publications, the writing tasks versus writing problems has been a huge help. I know to many others, but also myself, including how to shape my days and the time I'm working, but also to better work with my students who are involved in
Mm,
these projects and delegating work and providing mentorship to them. So that is something that has been really helpful. And I think the other thing that I wasn't necessarily going into the program thinking was an issue, but in looking back has been
yeah.
really helpful in making my pipeline more resilient so that when
Yeah.
I am taking breaks or have a really busy teaching semester or season, how to build those on and off ramps to be able to just much more efficiently get back into a project and the writing. Whether it's I've been away for a week or a month or longer than that to
Yeah.
things flowing afterwards.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. I mean, I think it's so key. That part of it, right, is so key to writing during a busy semester or sustaining writing over time. It's just like knowing that there's going to be times that you're going to have to put it down. And if you freak out every time you have to do that, then it is just going to slow you down more. But there's ways that you can kind of make those on reps and off ramps and make that whole process just more sustainable and
Yeah,
calm. Yeah.
make it feel way less scary, at least to me,
Yeah.
of when I do
Yeah.
return, where do I even begin to dive back
Yeah.
into this?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you also mentioned writing with students. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like that the Navigate program actually helped you get better at writing papers with students. So that's a question we get a lot because some people have the idea like, oh, I'm going to take this program, right? Me as one person, and that means it will help me write my solo authored papers. But I keep telling people it actually helps you write co-authored papers and helps you write with your students as well. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
yeah, definitely. So, I would say the majority of my papers have a student involved in them in some way, shape, or form, given the structure of our program and what our students are interested in working on. And it's helped me, I think, indirectly model better habits that they can get into in terms of their writing. But also, I think a big thing I was struggling with before was, delegating them things that maybe were too big for them to take,
Mm,
that needed some of that deeper thinking that I needed to be doing. Or kind of not having a clear sense of like what is something they can be doing versus what's something I can be doing. So that writing tasks versus problems has been really helpful to identify like what are those tangible ways I can really get them involved and get them to work on something with a meaningful deliverable that they can see their contribution. And then we can continue to like build this momentum together in that
yeah.
sense. That's been extremely helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. How would you say, like, could you talk a little bit about kind of results, right? So, like, if did you submit a paper during your time in Navigate? Like, what has been, it's been a year. So, what has this last year looked like for you in terms of submissions?
Yeah, I believe right at the end of Navigate or within the week or two following, I was able to submit a paper. Um, but in the year since, I before I did Navigate, I was having a hard time just getting papers over the finish line. Like they'd be mostly done, but then it was just
Yeah.
taking that extra step. And this year, since the start of this year, have had three papers accepted and have
Woo.
some more that are under review that I've been able to submit this year. And that's just been like such a huge shift and progress for me, at least compared to before, to be able to, again, move these things that have been in progress over that first finish line, at least. There's still going to be
Yeah.
more to do with revisions and peer review, but I've kind of been able to get out of my own way. Like,
Yeah. Like
yeah,
big time.
yeah, yeah. And that's been really exciting.
Yeah.
Especially too, like going up for tenure, but also students are involved in every one of these, so it allows them to have more opportunities. And that's been really great. And
Yeah.
that shift really happened following completing Navigate. So
Amazing. So first, let me just say congratulations on the 3 that were accepted. That's amazing. And tell me again the number submitted.
6 more that are under review.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, that's so good. I'm so happy for you. Well done for sure. Amazing. Okay. So if you were gonna think about like, if you were thinking about what were the reasons you almost didn't join Navigate?
I think one of my biggest um, pause points when thinking about it was, the funding and the cost. And especially like in recent years, like funding is even harder to come across in academia than ever before, it seems. So I was hesitant to spend my small pot of faculty funding on the program, but decided to make that leap to again, knowing the things I had kind of been doing on my own weren't fully getting me all of the way there, that let's take the leap. And to me, it was a very worthy investment in myself, but also my students and like continued success in my position.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, an investment that's paid off, like, because right now I mean, I don't know, you can tell me how you feel about, going up for tenure with the number of publications that have happened for you in this last year, but also like paid off in terms of for your students, because your students are on those pubs as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great for my students who I collaborate with my colleagues who I collaborate with. Definitely makes me feel more prepared for that tenure process. But it's also been really helpful to rebuild even my own confidence as an educator and researcher in this field after not being in academia for a number of years and having to start from scratch to like re-remember like I can do the hard work and I can see this through. So that's been wonderful.
Yeah, great. What would you say, like, who would you say that Navigate is for? Like, if people are listening and they're like, I wonder if this is really for me, like, who would you say should do it?
Yeah, I think anyone who knows they have, or maybe I didn't know, but I like had a feeling I had good ideas, I had good projects, I had good questions, but wasn't being as effective and efficient as the writing up and the spending the time doing that and building the practices that needs. So I think anyone who wants to improve that piece of their um, academic research journey, or even if you feel like you have good practices at times, but then it's hard to restart after a break or something like that. I know I felt like I can have stints where I'm really focused and locked in, but this has really helped make that more resilient and make that more sustainable in the longer term.
That's just excellent. I don't have any other questions. Like, that's it. Mic drop. I'm done. Anything that you want to add before we end our little podcast conversation?
I think it was also really great to meet other academics and
Yeah.
hear about their experiences with very similar issues or questions, maybe related to writing or related to other things that I don't feel like there's often those spaces for academics to maybe have those conversations about like this is what I'm struggling with or this is the problem I'm facing and like I need help to figure this out. And that is just always really nice to know like you're not the only one experiencing this and building that sense of community to be able to build that momentum to figure this out. So,
Awesome. Yes. One of my favorite things is always like being with all of you on the calls and getting to know the group. And I know that feeling of like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not like also being in a room full of people who are like, look, I'm going to ask for help. Like, I think that's like an amazing thing that we actually don't normally get
yeah.
inside of academia, right? Because there's a lot of like posturing and stuff. It's like, no, we're here to like develop ourselves and get better because we have things to say. So wonderful.
Yeah. And I also grew up on a dairy farm, so
You
always
did?
hearing your examples related to that. So that always made it even stick better for me.
I love it. I love it. I was like literally just, my son, I could hear him outside and he's swearing at a couple of cows who got loose and he's trying to like wrangle them up.
You'll
Yes,
have
it's good time. Well, Augusta, thank you so much for being here and for telling us about your Navigate journey. And I just wish you all the best as the new semester starts.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, what an inspiring interview with Augusta. I hope you noticed where I had to ask her twice, like, wait a minute, how many papers did you submit in the last year? What an incredible job, and what a testament to like how writing with students can get better. You know, when we ourselves as writers have better tools and better writing project management. Now, if you're interested in enrolling in Navigate, I'm going to give you some details here. Now, you can find all these details on the program website. The program website is scholarsvoice.org/navigate. But I'm going to give you all the details here because there's actually a bonus that ends tomorrow. So if you enroll by tomorrow, you're going to get even more great education around writing with your students, because my special bonus for this round of Navigate is enrollment in a free, for you if you join Navigate, 4-day mini course about writing with students. Now, the whole course is going to be delivered live, and it is meant to help you create the systems, processes, mindsets, and the teaching that you need in order to be a more effective co-author with your graduate students. Now, you're going to, if you join this round of Navigate, you get access to that course for free. You can come live. Would love to see you there live. But also, if you can't come live, don't worry. We're recording everything, and you'll have access to the recordings for a whole year. In that bonus mini course, I'm going to cover a lot of kind of like how to set up processes for writing with your students that are going to save you time and make your writing with them more efficient. And then also we're going to talk about how I would teach a graduate student to write a paper in my field. Okay. And actually, how you could teach a graduate student to write a paper in any field. So I'm going to give you a process that you can just lift and use with your graduate students. We're also going to have lots of time for coaching, troubleshooting, question answering, and we're going to do a roundtable with a selection of professors who have gone through Navigate before and who I know from being in my community about what do we tell our students? How do we work with our students in regards to using AI? What do they need to know, our graduate students, as they're writing for publication for the first time or one of the very first times? What do they need to know about the use of AI? I imagine it's going to be very field specific, but then we're also, I hope, going to find kind of common ground. Now, that's the bonus. That's not the Navigate program. That's just the extra bonus that you get if you join by tomorrow, Friday, August 14th. But if you want to hear all about the program, I released on Tuesday a hour-and-a-half long fall writing planning session. If you skip to like minute 60 and listen to the last 30 minutes, you'll hear all the details. You'll hear me talk through all the details of the Navigate program. I'm going to be concise here, as concise as I can, because I do want you to know about it, but if there's plenty more information that you can find. So first, the logistics. Navigate's a 12-week program. It's a hybrid between recorded modules and live calls. So every week for 12 weeks, starting August 31st, you get a new lesson in our learning management system, and we also give you the audio-only version of that lesson, the podcast version of that lesson. So you don't have to sit down in front of your computer and watch the module in a learning management system. You can listen to it in your car or while you're walking between classes or whenever you can, because I know you're busy, and that's how I listen to my coaching programs that I'm in. So Monday, you get the lesson. Friday, we have a live call. This round of Navigate, our live calls are Fridays at noon Eastern Standard Time. That's New York City time. We meet for an hour. We alternate on those live calls between coaching and co-writing. And so we'll have one every other week, right? So 1 week we'll have a call that's questions and coaching and overcoming obstacles. And, I heard you say this in the lesson. And what do you mean? And can you explain it better? Can you explain it more? That kind of call. And then we do co-writing, which is just body doubling, right? Where we just stay on mute and write together. During the course of the Navigate program, I teach you the 3 essentials for publishing your backlog of papers. Those 3 essentials are pipeline and publication management, time management, and sustainable writing practice. If you go back and listen to Friday's recording, you'll hear me talk about those 3 essentials and what they involve and how I teach them in the program. And suffice it to say, for our concise version here, the idea is that during the 12 weeks of Navigate, you'll learn how to project manage your work to completion, you'll make time in your schedule for more writing, and you'll create a writing practice that is sustainable, that can weather the inevitable disruptions of every semester, the inevitable derailments. Navigate is a application-only program. You can find the application link in the show notes. We're accepting applications and enrollments through August 28th. Then we start on August 31st. So the price of the program is $3,000. We also have a payment plan available. Yes, you can pay with university funds. If you're going to do that, you better get on it real quick. All right. I would love to have you in our Navigate program. We're already building a beautiful and amazing cohort of scholars just like you. And I hope that you can join us for this upcoming round of Navigate. Apply in the show notes.